Hello, everyone, and welcome to the educational webinar for the Domestic Materials Self-Certification Form. This webinar is for the Midwest states and FHWA staff. So if you are in the wrong place, certainly excuse yourself from this webinar. A recording of this webinar will be made available to those on the line as well as those that registered but weren't able to participate in the webinar today. Additionally, as our presenters are reviewing information with us, if any questions come to your mind, certainly put those in the Q&A box of Zoom, and we will allow for time at the end to review the questions. In the event we receive a large number of questions and we can't get through all the answers, we'll certainly get answers back to you, but I'm hoping that we'll have a full hour and we'll have a lot of robust conversation at the end. So with that, I am Catherine Molesky, Program Director for AASHTO Product Evaluation and Audit Solutions. I will be the facilitator for today's webinar. So during the webinar, we will be taking a look at, I realize some of you may not be familiar with AASHTO Product Evaluation and Audit Solutions, so I'll give you a quick overview of that technical service program. Additionally, FHWA will review the domestic material requirements. We will provide a background and introduction to the domestic material self-certification form. We'll talk about how Iowa DOT is planning to utilize the form. Vince Glick on the AASHTO staff will provide a data mine walkthrough on how state DOT and FHWA staff can access the completed forms, and then we will open it up for questions and answers. So this is a broad overview of what AASHTO Product Evaluation Audit Solutions entails. It is the third largest technical service program at AASHTO that resides in the engineering division. And the main purpose of this program is to evaluate products, conduct manufacturing audits, and the data that comes out of the product evaluations and the audits is then utilized by state DOTs to maintain and populate their qualified producers list and manufacturer products list. This technical service program is all-inclusive, so any DOT staff and FHWA staff can participate on any one of our 26 technical committees. It's not limited to one area of a DOT or FHWA. And this is the only technical service that AASHTO provides that is a true partnership between the state DOTs and our industry members. So both parties have to contribute in order for the program to continue to be successful. The website at the bottom allows for you to take a further look into the technical service program. If you've got any questions, certainly don't hesitate to reach out to me. State DOT members as well as FHWA staff and AASHTO staff to put together the form. We did not include industry. Industry, some did ask to be included in the task force when they heard about it, but we wanted to keep things simple and straightforward and continuing moving in the right direction. So we felt the need that was necessary to exclude industry from that task force. So this is a look at the form. Certainly go out to our website though and access it. It is publicly available to everyone that visits our website. So it's a very straightforward form. That was the intentions of the task force to not make it complicated. Part 1 of the form asks for the company contact information, very straightforward there, as well as it's important to note the dates that this form was completed. Part 2 details the specific article, material, or supply that this form is being completed for. So as you can see there, classification, and in the next area on page 2, which is right next to the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the screen here, lists out the categories. So we are asking the manufacturer submitting this form to list out the classification, as well as if there is project-specific information related to that material or product, to include that on the form as well. And then the last part of the form is, them declaring that they certify all this information in this form is correct and valid. The stipulation is in there that state DOTs may have different language requirements. So in accordance with your legal departments, it's, very important that the state DOT staff, especially that are reviewing these completed forms that are submitted, take a look, and if you do need additional information, reach out to the vendors, suppliers, manufacturers to obtain that information. I'm now going to turn things over to Jeff DeVries, who is the Materials Testing Engineer at the Construction and Materials Bureau for Iowa Department of Transportation. Jeff?
Well, good morning, everyone. Jeff DeVries, I'm the Materials Testing Engineer for the state of Iowa, for the Iowa DOT. I'll be covering some of the same topics that David talked about and how Iowa navigated to our current situation. So we're dealing with Buy America and Build America, Buy America. And the Iowa DOT has been following the Buy America requirements for quite a few years. We knew how to handle iron and steel products. And so we're pretty comfortable with our processes. We knew that early on there'd be three buckets of materials. We knew that we had products of iron and steel, manufactured products, and construction materials. Early on, we had a waiver for manufactured products, and we looked at how construction materials would affect our certification process or the validation of these construction materials. And as David said, most of those items were not going to be a major risk for us. We did have about 4 items that we identified as something that we'd probably use. The glass beads that we'd have in the construction projects where we're going to paint our centerline stripes. We'd also have some plastic materials. And so there were a few items that we needed to be concerned about. But early on, we didn't think we had to worry about manufactured products because we had a waiver. And that waiver would allow us to basically ignore those items. But then we started hearing rumors that the waiver was going to go away. And that's when we started to look at how Iowa DOT was going to do business. From the 3 buckets, it was quickly apparent that we were going to have 4 buckets, and that would have the excluded items that David talked about. And then we realized that no, it's not really 4 buckets. We're going to have to treat it like 6 buckets because we've got the precast and the ITS systems that are in our right of way. And so the first thing we started to do is we started to do an in-depth review of all of the buckets and how that would affect us as the DOT and also our contractors that we work side by side with. So with the products of iron and steel, we already had a process in place. There were going to be no changes to the way we accepted those. We had a process of what we required, and we weren't going to change for that. And when we reviewed that, we reviewed what does it mean to be an item of iron and steel, and we had a great definition that we were provided, and that means that the cost of the iron and steel content exceeds 50% of the total cost of its components. So that's pretty black and white. Is it an item of iron and steel? Yes or no? We've got a great definition. Then we had the construction materials. And as David was saying, we had the non-ferrous metals. We could see that coming in as a potential risk that we'd have to make sure that we had documentation for. Plastic and polymer-based products, absolutely. The glass and the fiber optic cables. We don't spend a whole lot of our federal dollars on our rest areas. We fund that differently. So we weren't too concerned about the lumber, the engineered wood, or drywall. So it was a fairly limited risk for what we were seeing. And then we wanted to make sure that we understood what was construction material, because we know that a minor addition that does not really change the properties of that construction material does not make it a manufactured product. Then we started looking at the excluded items. We understand what excluded items are. We have a great definition, and that would be our cement, cementitious materials. For Iowa, we said that we call our asphalt cement now binders, but it's still a cement. It's holding our aggregates together. So we classified our binders as the cementitious material as a cement that would hold the items together. Aggregates, stone, gravel, binding agents, and additives. So we had a very good definition of what was an excluded item. And then we reviewed what a manufactured product is. Basically, if you take things out of one bucket, a couple items out of one bucket, or a couple items out of 2 different buckets and combine those, then you have a manufactured product. And that helped us to understand how all of our different categories of materials would be considered. Well, we knew that there was a rule for an exemption or a special consideration for precast concrete products. And so we wanted to make sure that we handled those correctly, and also the intelligent transportation systems or other electronic hardware that are in the right of ways. So we really knew that we had a problem. And when we started looking at that, we kind of asked ourselves, what is the bottom line? Well, the first bottom line is that we were way behind, and we didn't have enough staff to do a review of every single product, because to determine what it is would take our staff a tremendous amount of time. And secondly, we thought there could be a smarter way to do this. So when we had the opportunity to join with AASHTO Product Evaluation and Audit Solutions and help to develop the form, we jumped on that. We thought it was vitally important that we help to shape the future. So we joined in the process, and we helped to write the form. We are going to require our contractors to supply this form that Catherine shared earlier, which the manufacturer or the supplier will provide. We're telling our contractors they have to order material with domestic preference. And that's not saying that they, if they want to, they can. That's the boilerplate language that we were given, that says that you're going to use domestic materials. So we're going to ask our contractors to use domestic materials. There is a waiver, like David talked about, if they can't get those domestic materials, but we're going to ask them to get the domestic materials, provide the documentation from the supplier who will get it from the manufacturer. And we're going to require that. We're going to require the form when it's available. We didn't want to paint our engineers into a corner. We said if the engineer wants to use a different way to verify that it's a domestic material, we're going to allow that. But we've already incorporated these changes. We had a sniff for what the form was going to look like, and we incorporated that in October of this year. April, we're going to show the new form as a required form, and we're going to move forward with that. We realized that we didn't have a large enough staff to make every single item that we could use in a construction project across the state on our approved product list. And secondly, we didn't think we had enough staff to verify the approved product list was accurate and up to date consistently. A bad list is worse than not having a list at all. So we're asking our contractors to understand that they need to order the material and provide the documentation. And so that's all I have.
Thanks, Jeff. And we'll now turn things over to Vince Glick, who is a program manager for AASHTO Product Evaluation and Audit Solutions, to walk us through how to access these completed forms. Vince?
Thank you, Catherine. Okay. So in this section, we'll go ahead and cover accessing the form through the AASHTO Product Evaluations and Audit Solutions website, and also accessing data mine and using the industry document repository implementation to retrieve these documents. To start, you'll navigate to the transportation.org / product evaluation audit solutions homepage. You'll see in the top URL here, product evaluation audit solutions. You have two places you can locate industry document repository training material, but the primary one you'll want to use is the domestic materials self-certification form right here on the landing page. Can't miss it. You can click on the image, or you can click here. It'll take you to a page where the form is available for the domestic materials self-certification form. It can be retrieved by you or by industry, along with data mine walkthroughs for both industry users and for state agency users. There's also a fee schedule available for industry users who are submitting these forms through the industry document repository on Datamine. We'll go ahead and dive right into the industry document repository state user guide, document repository navigation. So to start, many of you out there already have registrations with Datamine, but for those who do not, we're just going to do a brief overview of registering in Datamine. So when you navigate to datamine.transportation.org, you'll see a login/register link at the top right corner. You'll click on that. Next, you'll click on Register Now. It's the link on the left-hand side. You'll enter your email address. You'll hit Next. Then you'll fill out all the required fields. You'll select State under Account Type, and then you'll select State Department of Transportation under Industry Sector. When it comes time to select the technical committee, you're not required to select a technical committee in order to access the industry document repository. You may if you'd like access to other modules that we have in Datamine and their respective restricted data, along with receiving notifications about that data, but it's not required to select a technical committee to have access to the industry document repository if that's the only intent of your need for accessing Datamine. Next, we'll discuss the IDR navigation. And accessing Build America, Buy America Act associated documentation. So when you first sign into Datamine at datamine.transportation.org/account/login, you can navigate to the industry document repository by clicking on the link at the top left, right next to UP3, also known as Upcubed, and traffic safety. We also have it listed under the resources section. If you go a few over to the right, under there is also another link to the industry document repository. Once you navigate to the industry document repository, you'll be provided with this dashboard. Here you'll be able to filter down to the documentation that you require based off of your needs. Several of the columns are made available to filter down more easily. To navigate directly to documents that are associated with Build America, Buy America documentation, such as the domestic materials forms that are intended to be uploaded through Datamine, you'll go to the column denoted as categories/tags and simply type in build or BABA, just one of the words that has Build America, Buy America in it, and it'll filter down to all of the documents that are tagged with Build America, Buy America, BABA Act tags. And those domestic materials forms should be made available as soon as they are uploaded by industry users. If you're looking to download them individually, you'll see on an individual line item on the right-hand side under the actions column, there's an individual download icon. You can download it individually. If you'd like to download multiple, if you navigate over to the left-hand side, you'll see selection boxes. You can select one or more and then click Download Selected on the right-hand side. And if you would just like to download all the documents listed within your current view, say you filtered down to Build America, Buy America, tagged documentation for a specific manufacturer, in this case, I made, then you can download all of the I made's documentation tagged with Build America, Buy America, BABA Act against it. They'll provide a large zip file that has all of the documents available from this view. And if you'd like to check the advanced filters are available on the left-hand side. To filter by product classifications, we have the product classification column that lists those classifications that are both Datamine specific and domestic materials form specific. So if a product is associated with a specific Datamine module, then it can be filtered down here through product classification. But if it's also or individually denoted with the domestic materials form classification, those classifications listed on the form previously viewed in this webinar, then it can be filtered down here as well. And the advanced search parameters that we had listed in the top left corner, that includes module-specific filters as well as classifications again, additional specifications, and state agency tags. Also, if there are lot or heat numbers associated with an upload, that can be filtered down as well.